Oh, you haven't heard your voice in video yet.
I heard my voice in Sports Zone.
Oh yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah.
I freaked out.
I'm used to it.
That's what I sound like too.
Okay, Emily. Ready? Yep. Okay. I want you to look at my body. No, really look at it. Let's start with my arms. Does anything look out of place? Does anything look like it's broken or not working? See some head shakes, good. Let's move down to my legs. I'm standing here, which is a good sign. Again, do you see any major issues, any problems? For the most part, I'm a very healthy person and I have all of my limbs, but every single day when I'm looking in the mirror, I'm fighting a battle with these arms and this stomach and these legs. Why? Because I don't look like the celebrities I often see portrayed in advertisements and in the media. In fact, most of the time I spend my time sucking my stomach in, and trust me, I'll never have a thigh gap. Which is why I'm here today to prove to you that the media negatively influences the body image perception in both men and women. First, we're going to take a look at what the media actually is. Then we're going to focus on how it shows us this ideal image and makes us feel we need to look a certain way. Last but not least, I'll dive a little bit more into my own story and share with you my findings about how eating disorders are one of the possible negative effects that can stem from what the media shows us. I want you to understand how so many people, including myself, have been made to think we need to look a certain way, how we need to obtain this look that is ultimately unattainable. So first things first, let's define the media. Does anybody think they can give me a formal definition for media? It's okay, I struggled too. So mass media are diversified media technologies that are intended to reach a large audience via mass communication. So movies, music, video, television, radios, those are all forms of mediums that act as a way to influence a broad, diverse audience. Pat Mitchell, who's the CEO of the Paley Center for Media and formerly the CEO of PBS, describes the media as the message and the messenger. So the media has control over the messages we receive and the channels through which we receive them. On the National Eating Disorders website, it states that we live in a media-saturated world and we do not control that message. According to Dr. Jackson Katz, who's an educator and filmmaker, people learn more from the media than any other single source of information. Do you guys agree with that? Do you feel like you learn the most from the media compared to other sources of information? So now that we know what the media is, we're going to focus on how women are portrayed in the media first. The media tells women that they must be thin, beautiful, and ultimately flawless. One study from girlsinc.org found that of 21 popular young women's magazines, about 78% of them contained messages about bodily appearance. Admedia.com found that 69% of girls felt that what they saw in a magazine influenced what a perfect body shape should look like. AdMedia also found that only 5% of women in the US actually fit the current body type portrayed in advertisements. The main goal of these advertisements directed at women is to sell this ideal of normalcy or how we should look. However, this look is often unattainable due to photoshopping and retouching. So once women realize that they'll never look like the girls they see in magazines or on TV, they start to feel guilty, they become depressed, and they start looking for new ways to obtain this image. Just to drive this point home, supermodel Cindy Crawford, is everybody familiar with her? She once was quoted saying, "I wish I looked like supermodel Cindy Crawford," which really just showcases that even when she was portrayed in advertisements, it wasn't her. According to Jean Kilborn, an author and senior scholar of the Wesley Center for Women, girls get the message from very early on. That what is important about them is how they look, that their worth and their value depends on it. And men get the idea that that's what is important about girls. In 2011, the beauty market saw a $38 billion increase in sales, which really just shows that women are willing to spend a ton of time, a ton of money, and are really devoted to achieving this ideal look. So now let's take a look at how the media influences men and their body image. A 2005 study from Mediasmarts.ca states that media influence and the largest effect on whether or not middle school boys were dissatisfied with their bodies. According to the Center for Media Literacy, bravery, adventurousness, being able to think rationally, being strong and effective are all manly traits that are usually encouraged in the media. Alex, Oscar, can you guys think about who your idols were when you were younger? Maybe Superman or the Hulk is kind of ringing a bell? Somewhat. So Superman and the Hulk, Batman, Spider-Man, those are all popular images that you're introduced to at a young age. However, it is literally impossible for you to grow up and look like the Hulk. According to the National Eating Disorders website, pressure from mass media to be muscular also appears to be related to body dissatisfaction among men. So the effects of these advertisements obviously have the ability to be very negative, and through my research, eating disorders are one of the potential effects that I've found can stem from feeling we need to portray this ideal image. Dr. Ann E. Becker of the Harvard Eating Disorders Center actually studied this, and she studied it on the island of Fiji before television was introduced to the area. So picture Fiji with no television. So in 1995, before television was introduced, she surveyed 63 girls. 3 years later, after television had been introduced, she surveyed another group of girls. In the second survey, 15% of the girls reported that they had forced themselves to vomit to control their weight, compared with only 3% in the original study. Furthermore, in the 1998 study, 29% of the girls scored highly on a test of eating disorder risk, compared with only 14% in the original survey. According to the NEDA website, National Eating Disorder Association, experimental studies have linked exposure to the thin ideals in mass media to body dissatisfaction, internalization of the thin ideal, and disordered eating among women. Problems with eating disorders have increased by 400% since 1970. A 2008 study found that young men were more self-conscious about their bodies after reading male magazines, where they would see pictures of sexualized, scantily clad women based on the belief that girls would then expect a similar physique from them. Statistics show that as many as 10 million females and 1 million males are fighting a life and death battle against an eating disorder, which we now know can stem from the media. So let me step away for a couple minutes and get very real with you. In case you're not believing what I'm saying yet, I am one of those 10 million females. I've been in recovery for an eating disorder for a little over 2 years now, and after countless hours of therapy, a small stint in the hospital, a ton of different doctor's visits, one thing that I always can go back to is, what did I learn growing up? What am I exposed to on a daily basis? I played with Barbies when I was a young girl. I spent my time watching shows like Gossip Girl. Not that Gossip Girl isn't real, but it's not real. And the things that you see in magazines, I was made to feel that I needed to look like these people in order to be successful, in order to be beautiful. So in conclusion, I want you to think about how you define beauty. Who is the most beautiful person in the world to you, man or woman, and why do you think that they're beautiful? Is it because their flawless images are consistently being thrown at you via the media? Is it because you've been made to think that perfection is beautiful? I know at the end of the day you're not going to stop watching TV and you're not going to throw away your favorite magazines or stop going to the movies. So what can you do? I encourage you to become media literate. Understand the difference between what is real and what is fake in what you see in the media. Talk to your loved ones about what you're seeing. Professor Reeves, talk to your boys about what they're seeing. Oscar, your goddaughter, is she growing up thinking she needs to be Cinderella beautiful? Is it even possible? Make others aware and get a discussion going. Understand, again, which images are real and which are fake, and help others to know that they don't have to grow up to look like the Hulk or a Victoria's Secret model. My hope is that after we've defined what the media is, after hearing how these unattainable images of beauty are thrown at us, and my own personal story, you'll now think twice about how you define beauty. But thanks for bugging me.